while because it was winter break. And then Elizabeth and I were traveling through the East Coast doing some in-person events and meeting some of you guys in real life, which was really wonderful. We just wrapped that up and I got back home yesterday and they were great. It's always good to be in Montessori's in person and see your environments. We also were at the MSM conference near Boston, which was great. Today, I wanted to have a town hall that focused on Montessori marketing during the enrollment period that we're currently in. So, yes, we got to recharge and recover during the winter break, but this is one of the busiest times is this kind of January, February period where we're trying to lock down those enrollments for the fall and also for summer programs. Um, our town halls are very collaborative, so there'll be parts where I might ask you guys questions or ask you guys to share your experiences, your strategies. You can unmute yourself or you can use the chat. We also moderate the chat. So if that's maybe there's a lot of people in the background and you don't want to be disruptive, that's completely fine. You can just use the chat, whatever is more comfortable for you. All right, just an overview of, what we're going to be discussing today. I wanted to start off with just talking about the challenges and opportunities of this time where we check in with you guys and feel out what's going on. Just this year, I feel like every year brings new challenges and opportunities in terms of enrollment. We're also going to talk about just the admissions process. This is the time where you really get to test out the admissions process and how effective or ineffective it is and what parts you can tweak or improve. This is the time where we really need to be generating those leads. So getting information from people, finding those interested parents, growing lists, reaching out to those lists constantly. This is the time to do that, to just lock in on those interested leads. I'll briefly talk about CRM best practices or any type of communication best practices, even if you don't use a CRM, because this is a time where, again, you're going to need to be communicating and reaching out and communicating with people and making sure that basically that contract is signed, they are enrolled, the deposit is paid, and they're ready for the next year. I'll talk a little bit as well about using your email list, email nurture campaigns during this period, and also in-person events. I think this is a good time to host a couple of in-person events just to get people excited about Montessori. And then I wanted to leave some time for discussion and Q&A as well, because this is a good time for that. So first, please feel free to, drop in the chat or unmute yourself. Where are you joining us from? Introduce yourself. Just, what school are you joining us from? It's great to see kind of what areas are being covered here. I know we have a good group today. All right, Alexa, welcome. Joining from Bend and OR. Julie, hello from Boise, Idaho. School at Rose Hill, welcome. Angie from Small School World Montessori in Racine, hello. And Vicky McCarthy, welcome back. Amelia Island. We're actually closed today during the, oh, well, you get a snow day. That's one silver lining. I hope the power is working for everyone who's getting hit by that. Well, it clearly is if you're on this call, but hopefully you guys can stay warm. I know a lot of countries had freezes. I mean, states had freezes. Michelle from Countryside Day, welcome. Welcome, Jamie. Okay, great. So we have a good group here. I want to start off by talking about the challenges and feel free to put in the chat. This is just kind of open for conversation. What are the main challenges that you're facing right now during the enrollment period? Are you finding that enrollments are dropping? Is it harder to convince parents? Is it still like those third-year parents that are dropping off? Feel free to unmute yourself or drop in the chat. What are your current challenges? K to lower elementary transition. Absolutely getting those people on board with Montessori Elementary. The most challenging thing for us is competing with free public Montessori programs, okay? And then losing our kindergartners to the local public school, which are the great schools, high taxes paid, okay. So you live in a nice area and you're competing with high quality public programs, that is a challenge. Shall hear. Yep. Okay, so I think a couple of similar challenges here. It comes down to probably cost if they're competing with public schools that are free, and then just retention, getting those parents to stay on for those elementary programs, which is also kind of a tuition decision, I'm guessing, because parents are going to go to those public schools possibly, or especially if you're competing with free Montessori programs in the public area, in the public school area. Okay. Opportunities. What do you feel are your biggest opportunities currently? Um, do you live in a very family-friendly neighborhood? Do you have more potential to get your brand name out there and get people to recognize your school? Have you been doing any community building? Maybe you're offering some type of sibling discount or something, you're trying something new this year and to help with enrollment. More parents learning events about elementary Montessori school. We're slowly bringing parent informational events back in and even inviting the public to hear the topics too. I love that. Please open up your events if you haven't already to the public. It's just a great way to get people into Montessori. Um, Angie here, our biggest opportunity comes with opening a second location. Congratulations. We are just trying to find a way to make both schools profitable. Yeah. And it's usually that first, year or two when you have a new location that's a challenge, but I'm sure over time, um, it will get a little bit easier, but that's great. So lots of opportunity for growth there. Okay. I just wanted to check in. Um, I think this is the time where you're really putting into practice how effective your admissions process is. So this is the time where you can really reflect. I always say to schools, it's important to know every step of your process, and every school is a little bit different. Maybe it looks something like this, where you start with a lead and you end with enrolled. And it's important to list them out step by step because you can kind of figure out what can I improve each step to really convince a parent that Montessori is the right choice. Because in my opinion, Montessori is the right choice for 99% of people out there. It's just, it is amazing. So we just need to get them to see that and understand, and we really need to just check in every step of the way. I think for Montessori schools, it really is about capturing value-led parents. And it will come down to a lot of parent education. It will come down to a lot of personal hand-holding. And they need to hear from you a lot. So, um, what is a lead? This is what you need to be collecting throughout the school year, but I think it really becomes crucial during this time. So this is a prospective parent who has expressed interest in your school. If you don't already, you need to have ways to generate leads on your website. Absolutely, or just in general, in-person events as well. But you need to have a way for people to share their information with you so that you can follow up with them. We talk a lot about in some of our other town halls about something called the admissions funnel. And it's a funnel because it's really big at the top and it's really small at the bottom. And the bottom is those are the parents that are enrolling. To get maybe a handful of enrollments, you will need 100 leads, 100 somewhat interested parents to maybe get 5 mission aligned parents to actually enroll. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of gathering those leads. It's important. The way to gather these leads is to have ways for parents to engage on your website, to post on social media, to host events, especially opening events up to the public and getting them to just know a little bit more about Montessori, even if it's not a specific event for your school. Maybe it's just a parenting event, maybe it's a fair. You need to have a presence there so that you can generate those leads and nurture them. So that's the rest of the process. So again, this is just reviewing a couple of ways you can recruit those leads. It's important to have these up on your website right now because this is a time where parents are looking for summer programs. They are looking for fall programs. So have these things on your website. Automated tour scheduling. The number one thing that will sell parents on Montessori is a tour or an open house or anything that gets them into the Montessori environment. So make sure that it is very easy for parents to schedule tours automatically through your website. Um, During this time, parents are probably touring multiple schools. They're probably having to engage with different, maybe daycares or public schools or other private schools in their area. So the easier that you can make it, the better. Don't add any obstacles there. They should be able to click on your website, schedule it automatically. Another thing that can really help you captivate those parents is something that we call white papers. So this looks like an article and maybe an e-booklet, something like that you offer on your website in exchange for email information. So you ask a parent to enter their email information and you send them a free ebook about Montessori or about Montessori parenting. Again, it's so important for you to capture that information so that you can follow up with them, you can call them, you can email them, and really apply that pressure and be like, hey, it's so great that you requested an e-booklet. It's actually our enrollment period. If you want to secure a spot for next year, come to our school and, see what's available for you in the next coming school year. So again, it's very crucial to offer those things on your website. Inquiry forums. This is probably the time where you're going to get the most inquiries throughout the year. I know with Montessori schools, it varies, especially with those younger programs. Toddler programs, like probably getting inquiries throughout the year, but it really starts ramping up, especially for elementary programs or middle school programs this time of year. So please keep an eye on those and make sure those are being responded to very quickly. We do live in the period of instant gratification. If parents have to wait a day or two to hear from you, it's probably too long. Obviously, give yourself the weekend, but automated responses can be very helpful for this. And this is also the time to capitalize on your gated tuition requests. So this is, again, the time that parents are looking at programs and they want to know the prices. So something that you can do, and I highly recommend you do, and I'll show here that you do if you don't already, is gate your tuition. So if you have a tuition and fees page, you want to do something like this so that parents have to request information, but they are automatically getting it. So they're still getting it within 5 seconds or so of filling this out. So you're still meeting those instant gratification needs, but now you have that email address, or you can even ask for a phone number. Now you can check in with that parent and really apply the pressure and say, hey, it's so great you asked for tuition information because actually it's our enrollment period and we have limited spots. We'd love to give you a tour, or we'd love to answer any questions you have about our Montessori program. So this is the time to really hone in on those lead generators. So again, here's just an example of something that you could include on your website, that Montessori or conventional, what's best for your family, read the article, you capture that data. Your contact us form. You absolutely need to have this nowadays because people will be submitting their inquiry requests. And the tuition information form. This will be your most filled out form without a shadow of a doubt. It will be this. Again, you need to have that big list of leads. This is the time to focus on that, to generate as many as possible, and to respond quickly. I know it's a lot of work. We just kind of got off that slow winter period. Christmas, we probably weren't getting as many inquiries. Who knows, maybe depending on your community, but this is a time where things start to ramp up. So you've got to maximize those leads. Of course, if you're generating those leads and you're getting emails, you need to nurture them as well. This is what I think can set your school apart from the local public school, from um, other programs, is that Montessori, we do give more individualized attention, not only to the children, but oftentimes the parents. And we can kind of set a higher standard there. And there are parents that will value this immensely. And usually it is our mission aligned parents. So you want to be constantly reaching out to leads. adding a bit of pressure in a way that isn't salesy. I don't think Montessorians are salesy people, but we want to offer a lot of free resources. So offer parenting classes, say, hey, we know it's re-enrollment period and it's a hard time. It's after the holidays. It's winter. You're cooped up with your kids on the weekends. We're offering a free parenting class. You can bring your kid along, but it's just support. Something like that can really get people through the door. Encourage them to submit an application and enroll. Whatever it takes, if it's, more emails, more getting people just applying that pressure of, oh, we're getting so close to starting a wait list. Oh, we have a new location and we have a lot of demand for it, even if you don't, just say that. Um, this is where you really want to check in on streamlining your communication. So, you want to start running campaigns if you haven't started that already. So start running those re-enrollment or enrollment campaigns to your families. Um, Even the current families that are staying for that third year that you're finding a challenge with, set up a time to put together a campaign about retention, about the importance of the kindergarten year or the value in lower elementary Montessori. Why is it better than the public school system? You've got to educate parents and really highlight this is the difference. You can do this via email campaign. You can do this with in-person events, which I'll talk about as well. If you haven't already, do a moving up night. Do an event that is focused on those families that are about to transition into elementary, that you really highlight the benefits of the program. Invite student ambassadors or current students from that program to come and share their experience, or parents that have experienced their child in a lower elementary Montessori program. You can even have the parent host an event. Maybe have a PTO member or a parent that is from that lower elementary program that has a child enrolled there. They're really happy, and they're happy to host a parent panel of some sort where they answer questions of parents awaiting that transition period so they can make the decision to transition into either public school or into the lower elementary Montessori school. But it it really comes down to when you're competing with price, which is usually the challenge, you need to show them the value. Why should they pay that price? Hopefully you've planted seeds throughout the year, but this is where you really want them to feel that pressure, be able to talk to parents who've experienced it, see, other students that have had success with that. So send them campaigns, send them information, maybe have a one-on-one meeting or host a panel. Find something that works for you. You don't have to do everything, but you need to have those strategies in place. Something you want to figure out with email campaigns is focus on the content. So you can do a retention email campaign for those parents that are staying in the third year, that are transitioning up to lower elementary, and you can have also an email campaign to new prospective parents about why should they choose Montessori. Um, Frequency. During this time, I really recommend sending at least an email a week, maybe even 2 emails a week if you're really looking to fill spots. Um, you need to be seen. You just do. And think of a quantity. So how long do you want to run this campaign for? Honestly, I recommend running it through the entire enrollment period and doing twice a week during this enrollment period until a parent enrolls or they sign up their kid, and then they'll stop receiving those campaign emails. So I do recommend doing that and using them thoughtfully. Again, just think about using your tone of voice, putting your school signature feel to it, your logos, images. Make those emails captivating. You can include videos. Video testimonials are great to include in these types of emails to get people to enroll. Again, and you can do this all for free. This is free marketing. Sending emails doesn't cost you any money. It just takes some time to put together, but this is the time to really capitalize on that. Here, what are your favorite email campaign platforms? Well, my favorite one is our CRM. I'm biased. We have a client relationship manager specifically designed for email marketing for Montessori school admissions. There is also MailChimp. Some people have found success with MailChimp. That's a good one as well. Does anyone else have any other ones that they have found helpful? Those are the two that I can think of. I know some websites, like if you use Wix or WordPress, sometimes they have very simple ways to email market. I'm not sure. I haven't worked enough with those to really know. With our CRM, you can create templates, you can save them, and you can add triggers so that it sends those campaigns without you having to do anything. We use MailChimp when sending something outside of the usual Nido campaign. Yeah. And I've heard good things about MailChimp. So if you want to run something, and I think it's pretty cost effective as well, it's not very expensive. And even if you're just using it for the for this enrollment period, it's worth it for you to maybe sign up for a month or two, um, and get those emails out there because it is worthwhile. All right, let's revisit this admissions process. So we're generating our leads. We have our social media campaigns out there. We have our website forms that people are engaging with. We're getting the word out through events. Now we're getting inquiries. Now we really need to get people to schedule a tour. This is what will sell people. So send however many emails, do the phone calls, reach out to parents, make sure they understand that tour scheduled is the most important step to the admissions process. Another thing that you can do to really communicate this point is on your website, have one call to action and it should be schedule a tour. And it should be up here on the navigation bar too. So make it very known. This is what sells people on Montessori because if a parent is kind of deciding, do I want to be in Montessori or do I want to be in public school or daycare? Getting them in the classroom will make that difference and will make them understand. We have several calls to schedule a tour. Again, schedule a tour. How to apply. One, schedule a tour. So make that very known and nurture people into that. And of course, once they completed that tour, you need to have follow-up communication in place to really get them to apply. So you need to have a post-tour check-in process. Usually that can be a phone call and say, hey, we wanted to know how your tour went last week. If you had any follow-up questions, we're happy to direct you to any resources that you might need, um, and provide just anything that you might need a follow-up on. And then maybe send them a couple of follow-up emails about, hey, we're getting close to starting a wait list, or now's the time to apply. We have an application deadline for a program next year. So that's the time to apply that pressure to get them to submit an application. Depending on your school, you might have a child visit, you might not. We didn't have a child visit at my school that we worked at, but I know some schools, if you're more selective, I recommend having a child visit because then you can really hone in on which children are going to be the best fit for your school and then get those enrollment offers through. Even after the enrollment offer, you don't have that parent. You don't have that parent until that parent is paid the deposit, and even then, you don't have them really until they start that first day. So after they sign that enrollment offer, you want to impress them. You want to send them, a detailed kind of list. These are the next steps, preparing you for Montessori. This is, here are some activities to help implement Montessori in your home. Just really kind of impress them, um, so that they really stick through you until they start day one. Uh, Millennial and Gen Z parents, they just expect better. I don't know. They expect more hand holding, I think, because they're really busy. Often we have two working parents. I think in other previous generations, parents were a little bit more trusting. Post-COVID, there's no such thing as over communication. A parent is much more likely to say, we need to hear from you more than we need to hear from you less. It's just a reality. There's a couple parents that will say, oh, there's too many emails or I don't read them all. That's fine. It's always good to just offer a lot of communication. So just make it very clear and explain again and again, this is the value. Something that can make this easy is our CRM. This is just a snippet of like reviewing our admissions pipeline so you can see where your leads fall. You will be checking this multiple times a day during this period. You'll be wanting to move people along. This is the time to check in with parents because especially for those older programs, the leads that you have now, those are that's the tuition you're going to be receiving next year. So you've really got to check in with every single person, every single step. You can't let people fall through the cracks because that one person that you think might have fallen through the cracks or isn't interested anymore, they might be your next enrollment that gives you $25,000 in tuition the next year. So you've got to check in with them. You've got to do that work. So let's see how you can take advantage of all of these steps. So again, when it comes to having those forms and intaking leads, send all requested information immediately. You should have automations in place. Send them the tuition right away. If it's a day late, they've forgotten about it already. They're annoyed. Any type of article that you're offering, any lead generator, send it immediately. Create an opportunity under leads for tracking purposes. This is where you're going to track every single lead that comes in. Um, Send them email campaigns, check in with them constantly. So this is where that needs to be happening. Otherwise, they're going to forget or they might go to the public school system. They need to be hearing from you. They need to be seeing, hey, this is the better option. Be sure to keep all parents on your email list until they unsubscribe. So assume a parent wants to hear from you until they unsubscribe from your email list. And always give them the option to unsubscribe. It should be at the bottom of an email. Most people know this nowadays. When they sign up for an email list, they can easily unsubscribe. They might stay at that top of the funnel for months. They might even stay on it past this enrollment period, but you want to continue to nurture them because you never know. They might sign up for a different school in October. They're done. They've had a horrible experience and they're going to revisit. So don't give up on that parent just because they don't sign up during the re-enrollment period or enrollment period. We have heard many cases where parents, go to public school and come right back. They regret it. Or they go with a different private school and they regret it. So make sure to continue to email. Best practices for inquiries. This is the time where you really have to be on top of these best practices. Always send those automated responses. Send a notification email to yourself with the contents of the form. So every time a parent fills out a tuition request form, you should get a notification. That way you can keep track. Like you can say, oh, today we got 10 tuition requests. There's 10 interested local parents that wanted to know our price. We've got to reach out to them. We've got to email them. We've got to get them to schedule a tour. So when you're getting those notifications through, it makes it a little bit easier to stay on top of. Anytime you get a parent that you just know is not going to be the right fit, or expresses that they're not going to choose you, do try to remove them, if they make it very clear. You want to keep that list clean and up to date as well so that you don't spend extra time on people that just are not going to be fruitful. And again, please have this. This is, I think, the most crucial thing during re-enrollment time is having tours be very easy and accessible to book. And this should probably be the time of year where you're offering the most tours. So maybe you ramp up your tours. Maybe usually you only have one tour day a week. Make it 2 or 3. Really make it more available for parents and consider giving maybe a day or 2 of weekend tours. Because again, you want people to get through the door. Best practices for tour schedules. Please send an automated confirmation email. People will forget. And send a 24-hour reminder text as well. So they should get a confirmation email saying, hey, your tour is scheduled. We look forward to meeting you. Here's everything you need to know. Where you need to park, what time you need to arrive, and then send them a confirmation email, a text message and SMS 24 hours in advance, checking in with them to make sure that, yep, you're still coming. We need you to reconfirm that you will be here tomorrow. Create an opportunity under tour schedule for tracking purposes. So again, if you're using a CRM to track all of this, you want to make sure that you're moving things along properly. So you're keeping everyone in the right place. If you're using a spreadsheet to track this, just make sure, you're updating that regularly. You don't want to reach out to someone to schedule a tour when they already have scheduled a tour. It doesn't look professional. And again, it's just that SMS reminder. When that tour has been completed, this is where you can move them down further the funnel. This is now someone you really have to follow up with because they came in for the tour. So they've seen what you've got to offer. They're considering if the value is worth it. This is where you follow up and make sure that they really see, okay, this is the right choice. You should have taken notes on the family and the student. You can give them a personalized response. You can add them to an automated tour follow-up email, inviting them to submit an application, apply some pressure about a wait list maybe being started, and make clear, there's a deadline if you want to get started, first day of school next semester. So apply that pressure. Once they apply and they submit an application, that's great. It still doesn't mean they're going to necessarily start. We've heard cases where it's not 100%. There's still people that fall through after this phase. So just review that application, decide if you want to schedule a visit for the child depending on your process, and you want to configure a separate calendar, maybe for scheduling these child visits. Make it easy for them to schedule those child visits as well. This is mandatory for your enrollment process. Just some tips for the child visit if this is something that you do include. You want to make sure they are reminded of all of this. What we have found with just busy parents. I don't like to say Gen Z or millennial. I like to say busy parents sometimes because all parents are busy, but I think this generation work it has grown to so much more. So we really need to be over communicating. You can include a link so they can reschedule, cancel their appointment, anything like that. And just be very, very prepped for the child visit. I'm sure this is usually the time where we're doing a lot of observing. Again, send those reminders. I've said this, I'll say this a lot during the communication process, but I hear all the time, and I remember when I worked at a Montessori school environment, how forgetful parents are. So just make sure you're on top of that and sending just information about what they can expect for this child visit. When it's time to send an enrollment offer, you want to, whether you do this in person or email, you make sure you have a system in place. You continue to monitor these people. Check in with them during the summer. Send them a couple of free parenting resources, summer activities, things like that. So they keep you top of mind and they get excited about starting in the following year. Um, the marketing is still not done just because they submitted an enrollment agreement necessarily. So you want to keep them interested and engaged. All right, and then enrollment. Hopefully you can get those enrollments in during this period. Again, you want to make sure you check in with parents throughout that pipeline. Some parents are instantly, they come from the top to the bottom very quickly. Some parents take a lot of time and you just have to do the checking in and you have to do that work to really ensure that they enroll. And again, I talked about email marketing, but please utilize it. It's free. If you need help with email marketing, we have a lot of templates that you can access for free on Montessori Thrive. It is free to join Montessori Thrive. Oh, sorry. Just go to montessorithrive.com and claim your free access. Here in our collection, under marketing, you can find all those white papers and lead generators that you can put on your website for free. Edit them, add your school logo. That will be helpful. You can also search here for email nurture templates. We have lots. We have elementary retention email nurture templates. We have our marketing formula email nurture template, which I highly recommend during this period. This is just a basic email template to help people schedule a tour. And we have several different ones here. So please feel free to download these templates and use them. If you don't have anything written out and you don't have the time to, you can access them for free. And you can copy and paste them and put them into MailChimp. You can put them into our CRM. You can put them in yourself manually. Just please email market because it's free. And please continue to grow your email list. It's not too late. Even though we're currently in the enrollment period, this is the time to generate leads. So have those online forms. A couple of email nurture ideas. If you're stuck, you don't know what to send, do an email nurture on why Montessori. Do an email nurture specifically designed to get people to schedule a tour. Maybe this is someone who requested tuition information. Now you want them to schedule that tour. Join our wait list. Even if you have a wait list right now, congratulations if you do, but this is still a time you can market your school and take advantage of the enrollment period and have a nurture for people that are on your wait list to keep their interest high. Parenting classes, um, an open house. Every time someone signs up for your open house, put them on an email nurture reminding them about the open house because so many parents forget. Retention as well. So if you're struggling with the third year, you've got to market to them as to why should they stay the third year. And in my opinion, for those third year people or for those people that are transitioning to lower elementary, you will have to do in-person events to really get them to see the value there, to really check in with them in person and give them that individualized attention. And then fundraising, this is more if you're a nonprofit, just keep them in the loop. Um, you can always add those people that are interested in helping you fundraise to an email nurture. But I think more than anything, focus on these top ones for the enrollment period. Here is a sample email nurture. Again, the full email nurture is on Thrive. It's that Montessori marketing formula email nurture. And it's a set of 6 emails. The first one is to deliver the asset. So maybe it's the article that they requested, maybe it's the tuition information. On the second email, you want to highlight the problem that that parent has, which is they need to find childcare, they want a school for their child, and you need to highlight yourself as the solution. So that's what the second email will be about. The third one is a testimonial. You need to offer social proof. If you have testimonial videos to include in that email, please do. They're so effective, or any type of imagery. But you need to show that your school is effective in what it does. Um, Overcome an objection. Usually this is addressing a pain point, and usually in Montessori, this is tuition. Or maybe it's social, like socializing. Oh, my child will adjust better socially in a public school setting. So you need to address these pain points in an email and explain Montessori is worth it. It's worth the price, or your child will have all of the socializing that they need in a Montessori classroom. They will actually become leaders. Um, 5 is the paradigm shift. What sets you apart? What makes you different from local schools or public schools? If you're competing with Montessori public schools, likely your classrooms are a smaller teacher to student ratio. Your child is going to get more individualized attention. The teacher has more resources to observe your specific child. So you want to just hone in on why you. And then your sales letter is close that deal, get that parent to schedule a tour. That's the goal, is to schedule a tour, and then after that, submit an application. So that's just an example of how you can structure those emails. Again, if you need templates, please go on Thrive. We have every single one of these templates. We also have a template for if someone cancels a tour and doesn't reschedule, gently reminding them, hey, we're available. We have more dates available for you to schedule a tour. So all of these are important. You really just need to get people to come in. And please send your general newsletter to everybody on your email list. If you publish a new blog, if you're having any type of fun stuff going on at your school, make sure everybody's getting it and just hearing from you and seeing you. Even if it's in their peripheral and you think they're not paying attention, they could be. Events, please send any sort of events to all of your contacts, open houses, information sessions, parenting events. I loved that Vicky mentioned earlier that she is opening up her parenting workshops to the public. Please do this, or invite, parents in your community. Say, hey, invite a friend that needs help or wants support with parenting. It's a free parenting class. Invitations to online parenting seminars too. So invite them, maybe you're hosting something virtually. All of these are a great way to just bring the wider community and inspire parents to learn more about your school and programs. Again, it's that funnel. You need 100 people at the top to get 5 people at the bottom. This is the time to really capitalize and increase who you're reaching. So any type of event that you could do, any type of open house or ramping up your tours, please do that if you can. And then this will probably be more around February, but deadline notifications are crucial. You could also, this is a strategy that might work from some communities, might not work, but you can always offer deadline discounts. So parents that submit their application let's say 3 weeks before the deadline, they get a certain discount off their first month of tuition. Really just apply that pressure for people because the quicker that you have the numbers of how many people you have in those classrooms, the more you need to know, do I need to do more to market? Do I really need to ramp up my events? Do I need to ramp up my email marketing? So something like that may be effective. Not sure if the school has tried this out. Please comment if you have. All right. Beyond the email nurture. So I highly recommend you email market, but if usually that's not enough. You still got to do more stuff. So um I do recommend you do a couple of in-person events and just check in with parents and give them that individualized attention if you can. Calling families is really effective. They don't like calling you, funny enough, not from the start, but after they've met you, they do want to hear from you at that point, or they may want a little bit of extra attention. So this is where you can offer them, those check-ins after the tours, answer any questions that they might have. I recommend you do this. Also, something that we're getting a lot of inquiries about is running paid advertisements. So this is a time where us at Nido Marketing, we're getting a lot of people saying, hey, it's the enrollment period and we don't have enough numbers. Can we start running ads? And we're like, yeah, it's great to run ads, but there's a way to do it during this period if you're starting now. So if you've been running ads for a long time, great. You're probably capitalizing on that now, and you're probably not having as much of an enrollment issue. Unfortunately, if you're looking to start Google Ads right now, so you want to run them, you want to start running them today or next week, you are not going to be seeing the full benefits of this enrollment period because Google Ads take a week or two to kick off. By that point, you're kind of done. So really, if you're looking to capitalize on Google Ads for the enrollment period, you need to start running ads in the fall. You've got to start running those ads probably early November, end of October is when you're going to start running your ads for re-enrollment. Now, if you want to capitalize on something now, I recommend starting social ads. So if you're not running any ads right now, but you want to increase those numbers quickly and you want to get people just to build awareness about your school, you can always start social ads today and you can ramp up those numbers. Um, and then maybe for the next year, I would recommend starting Google Ads in October, November, so that you really start seeing people being led to your website and filling out those inquiry forms during this period. So just from a strategic point, if you're running ads, great. You're probably seeing those numbers. I hope you're seeing those numbers. If you want to start running ads now, I recommend social ads to get more immediate results. All right, this is the time where we check in with you. So what are you currently doing to ensure that you fill spots? Do you feel you're communicating a lot? Are you sending email marketing? What is it that you're currently doing that you feel is maybe working for your school? Feel free to unmute yourself or you can drop in the chat. Just want to do a check-in.
Camilla.
Yes, Wally.
I just want to mention that we're following pretty much the steps that you have outlined there. The only difference is that we only request application after they have conducted a tour, not before the tour.
Okay.
So that's the only in terms of the order of the steps. But the challenge that we have found over the years is that even though we have spoken, I mean, we have basically a two-step process. One is a phone tour where we just get an initial understanding, make sure that it's worth pursuing and for them to come out to the school itself.
Right.
And if it looks like, yeah, there is a good chance of a fit, then we invite them to come out and visit the school. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the third step is to bring the child. If the school tour goes well, now the challenge we have had is that even though they have come, they brought the child, and the teacher may have spent a few minutes with the child. There are a handful of cases we find that the child ended up not being a good fit,
Mhm.
because even though in a small amount of time you don't, I mean, there's nothing very obviously wrong with the child, but there are some issues that show up once they are there, and that becomes a very unpleasant experience to ask them to say, hey, it's not a good fit, you need to go. I'm not sure if there is some more rigorous screening we can do to make sure we have a close to 100% good fit, which is more obviously not possible, but as much as possible. So that's the challenge that we have been struggling, and we're trying to minimize that number as much as possible.
Mhm. It's hard. I would say you want to have some screening. I think the child visit is good, but you don't want to put too much screening process because then that's when parents start getting frustrated and they feel singled out. So if you feel a child is not a good fit, I would not communicate that to the parent. I would maybe say, we don't have any spots, or we need to fill out this age group, and unfortunately we cannot offer you a spot right now. We don't have one available. I would not address it and make it an uncomfortable conversation saying that your child is not a good fit. So I think usually a parent will have a negative response to that, and it will not be a good, pleasant conversation. I also think if you're in a position where you can be more selective about who you admit to your school, there's nothing wrong with that. You want people that are really mission aligned and you feel are going to thrive at your school. So if you find the screening process to be effective for your school, I don't think there's anything wrong with having that. Ultimately, you've been working at the school for many years. You know, kind of by observing the child and observing the parent, what parent is going to be in my community and thrive here. And you want those people enrolled first. Um, that would be that would be my suggestion. Does anyone else have any similar approach?
But Camilla, it's not that we tell the parents the child is not a good fit when they're touring, but the problem becomes when we have admitted them, they've started the school, and the teacher observes after 3 weeks or one month that, hey,
Mhm.
things are not working out. That's where we have to have that difficult conversation.
Yeah, that's a different challenge. In that case, you would have
Yes,
to be more
yes.
transparent with the parent. Um, I unfortunately don't have a lot of advice for that. If anyone has anything to share there. And those difficult conversations do happen. Maybe we can have a town hall where we invite someone to come and talk about that because it is a challenge. Well, if anyone has any thoughts to share on that, please do in the comments. I'll read out here. Julie says, we try to keep in contact, usually by email, with our waiting pool families. We are in partnership with another Montessori school who encourages their families to come to us for elementary. That's great. Currently, we are growing relationships with other Montessori schools in our area to do the same, as we're the only elementary program in Boise. That's what's great about, I didn't mention that, but building relationships with local schools, they're not always our competition. There are opportunities for partnerships or referrals. Please do that because a parent is very likely going to go with someone that a previous school of theirs recommended. So see if there's an opportunity for that. In some cases, it will be a case of competition, but in other cases, not so much. For instance, I had a similar program at our Montessori school that was a toddler and primary, and we would recommend them to a local Montessori elementary program. So see if there's something like that. And they would recommend people to um, our program sometimes because I don't think they had a toddler program. So I recommend doing something like that if you can. It's a good way to get shout outs and referrals. Um, let's see here. We have okay, what has been helpful during this enrollment period? Have you noticed anything that you've done differently this year that has been a positive change? Have you communicated more regularly? Did you notice an increase in an area because maybe you hosted an event or a parenting workshop? I'd love to hear anything that's been positive. Hopefully everyone's enrollment period is going well. All right, let's see. Inviting the public to our events. Yes, please do this. I'm telling you, I've suggested this at so many town halls because I truly believe that just getting people into a Montessori environment is so helpful. I think there is a misconception out there about Montessori people that, it's exclusive or, it's only for what very wealthy people. And that couldn't be further from at least Maria Montessori's philosophy. So it's good to get people through the door and just to let them see that this is a community, it's a village. A lot of parents feel isolated in their parenting, and they're much more likely to choose a school where they see a sense of community. That's something that public schools sometimes don't have as much. I don't know many public schools that offer parenting courses or, you know, just events to support that aspect. So that is something you could do to differentiate yourself and hopefully increase those enrollments. See here, what else do we have? I'm curious what you're hearing regarding open houses. Are schools finding success getting families to attend, good or bad times? We had an open house conversation at town hall. I want to say it was a month or so, maybe 2 months ago at this point. And we had a very mixed feedback. So I wish there was one answer I could give of, oh yeah, they're great, or they're not doing so well. I think it really depends on your general population, and I do think you need to market it a lot. Let's see here. Sawyer says, we had one on January 7th and had about 30 families attend. It was better than previous years, but would still like more. 30 is a good number. Um, Michelle says, wow. I do think this is a good time period for it, if that's part of your question. I do think that this is, we typically have 3. Please email market as well when you're having an open house. We have so many people that have had success stories from email marketing their open houses. Um, Hand out flyers at local pediatrician offices, dentist offices, and real estate office. Like realtors love to recommend schools. Um, and put some incentives into your open house too to increase attendance. Maybe off of the back of the open house, you also have a free parenting class, or you offer coffee and refreshments. Do an order, something like that. It's a bigger event that you're not planning as much. It's not like a tour. So offer something like that. Sawyer here says, we advertised on local parent magazines and digitally through social media. We also send our elementary children out in our town to go various businesses and post flyers. I love that. It does take that work to get the word out. Also, any flyers, yard signs, anything like that that you have to promote an open house, please do that. I love the children promoting it as well. Exactly. And I always think it's also so reflective of our schools. I think the children that um, we have in our Montessori spaces, they become confident and they love learning. They should be your salespeople. Not, I don't like that word, but they should be, your proof that you are a great school. So have them out there and invite them to your open houses as well if you can, or invite current parents to your open houses too. Not only does it make it feel more full, like it's nice when you have a bigger group at an open house, even if it's current parents, but parents love talking to other parents. So if you really want a successful open house or you want to ramp it up, yep, Julie says student ambassadors, absolutely, and parent ambassadors, because they're more likely to trust what a parent has to say than a teacher. So please invite them. Even if it's just like your kindergarteners, maybe you stop at kindergarten year, those children are usually so capable. And I think personally, there is a huge difference between a Montessori kindergartner versus a elementary, like a public school kindergartner. So it's very clear to see the difference when you're faced with it there. So I recommend doing that. Okay, I wanted to talk about our parenting series that we're hosting on Thrive. So if you're a Montessori Thrive member, which you can be for free, our parenting series is going live next month. We have some amazing speakers an amazing topic. So we have the lasting value of Montessori education. This will be great for retention. And that's led by Rupali Sharma, who, if you're not familiar with her, she's led several of our town halls and our parenting series. She's an incredible educator and mom. She'll be sharing her presentation on February 5th. We also have a presentation by Kristen Lowry to talk about neurodiversity in Montessori for parents who maybe are interested in learning about that. Um, we also have a positive discipline in the home, and we have Montessori lifestyle values in the family presented by Pamela Green. All of our presenters I'm really excited about. They have great Montessori experience. They're on Zoom every night from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern, but if a parent can't make the live, they are recorded. If you go to Montessori Thrive on our homepage, under upcoming events, you will find here Montessori Thrive Parenting Series. You can click that and it will take you to the event page. To get parents to sign up, all you have to do is copy and paste this link. You can include it in your newsletter. You can post about it on social media. They'll be able to register for all the Zoom calls here. So it's just a Zoom registration and it'll send them the Zoom meeting link to join. The day after each session, this will change to watch recording. So parents will be able to watch the recordings the day after. So if they miss it and they miss the registration period, they can watch the recording. So all the details and information are there. Parents can sign up for the ones they're interested in. They don't have to come to all of them, but it's free for them to join. So I highly recommend sharing this information if you don't have time to put together a parenting class. I know it's a lot of work to do that. So we look forward to seeing your parents there throughout the month of February. All
Mila,
right. Yep.
can you repeat what you said in terms of where do we go to
Sure.
pull out that information which we can send either in newsletter or an email? Where should we go to get that
Sure.
information? Thrive?
So if you just log on to Montessori Thrive, this is
Mhm.
the homepage
Okay.
under upcoming events. So always under what's new upcoming events here. It's the Montessori Thrive Parenting Series, February 2025. If you click that, it'll take you to our page and you can just share this registration page with parents.
Okay. So this is be just share that link with them, right?
Yes, just share that
Oh,
link with them and they'll be able to sign up for all 4 classes for free.
okay. Thank you.
Mhm. All right, I'll stop sharing my screen and see if there's any other questions before we wrap up. Next week, we have a talk given by Tina Patel. She is the founder of Neurana, which is a data storing system for Montessori schools. And she's going to be talking about best practices for just record keeping, things like that. I know we always get a lot of questions at Nido Marketing about that, and she does great work with that. So if that's something you're curious about, she'll be presenting and answering questions about, you know, documents and things like that, and just keeping track of all that parent information. So if that's something you're interested in, please join us next week. And we have a couple of fun speakers lined up in the coming weeks, so we look forward to some good conversations. As always, these town halls will always be free, and they're always going to be on Thursday from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. Eastern. All right. Any other questions before we wrap up? All right, awesome. Thank you, Alexa. All right, awesome. All right, if you have any follow-up questions, you can always email me. I will send here my email address. You can email me directly. Any follow-up questions that you think. And I'll see you next week at our next town hall. Thank you so much for joining. This is our first one of the year, and I think it'll be a good year for Montessori. So I look forward to hosting more of these town halls with Elizabeth here. So, all right, take care, everyone. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your week.